Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today begins an adventure, a three-part adventure, I hope. We'll see if that holds true as I actually do this. This three-part adventure shall be, let's build a blog with Next.js, Markdown, and Tailwind. Dun dun dun. I figured, so I've been talking about Tailwind for a while, and I've talked about Next.js, and I figured it'd be kind of fun to make a little project to kind of put all these pieces together and kind of walk you through my process of using these technologies I've talked about and applying them to actually build something. Because I'm a big believer that the best way to learn is by building. Building a blog is one shade away from just making a to-do list app, but at the very least, a blog actually might have more application towards you because you can actually use these videos to actually make a blog yourself, but I'm not sure you'd care that much to make your own to-do list app because I'm sure you already use a to-do list app. I weirdly just use Apple Notes as my to-do list app because I am weirdly lo-fi when it comes to that. So again, this is a three-part series. I'm just going to kind of walk you through these things as I would learn them, kind of talk out what I'm thinking as best as possible, kind of give you some insight into how to use these technologies to make a blog. Are you ready? Because I am a little nervous, I'm not going to lie, but also excited. I don't think I've done a lot of project videos on this channel because they're hard to do. So, if you are ready, I'm ready. On your mark, get set, let's code. Not as exciting as a F1 formula race, but I don't know how else to start this video. Okay, so let's begin. We have here the first part of making a blog is the foundation of it. You could use Create React App if you wanted to. Again, I'm using React because that is my lingua franca. Apologies for that. I don't like Create React App anymore because I think it's too opinionated for my own use cases. If you are just learning React, it's great because it will set you up on the path for success. But I want flexibility and customizability, and that is not what Create React App was built for. Which is why I've become a huge fan of Next.js, which I think is the best React framework nowadays that kind of gives you the best of all possible worlds. I think there's an aspect of Next.js that applies wonderfully to newbies and also very strongly to experts. And the fact it's able to cater to that wide of an audience is truly remarkable. So kudos to the Next.js team. And it's a team that builds it because to provide that much flexibility takes a lot of dedicated time and focus. Trust you me. Okay, so let's just get this set up here. The first things first is just to install it. I'm still using Yarn. Maybe one day I'll switch back to using NPM, but not today is what we say to the god of death or something. I don't know what I'm talking about. This is going to be blog with Next.js and Tailwind. I think Markdown doesn't need to be said for our use cases. I'm going to push this code up to GitHub. So by the time you're watching this, you'll have a link to this repo online. So you can kind of copy all my work and apply it to your own if you desire to do so. This is always the part of the videos where I'm like, should I have done this ahead of time? But we're done. Sweet. So Next.js spits out a ton of helpful little boilerplate. Let me cd into the folder, and we got things here. So if I do get status, I have a little shortcut actually, a little alias to do get status. It's the same thing for me. I just make my whole environment fast and fun. Here we are in my blog, ready to go and code so far. Yeah, so a weird thing about me when I start talking about code is I sing, so sorry or not. Package.json says that I can start things up in dev mode with Next.dev, so let's do that. Spin it up. You spin me right round, baby, right round. The server is started right now. Let's open it up. Here we have our wonderful Next.js website. And for this video, this is just a brief introduction to Next.js because that's kind of what we're delving into. I just want to do some brief customizations and kind of explain it as I go. If you have not seen my previous videos, then you're in luck because I'm going to re-explain things. So here we have Next.js, which applies a convention over configuration mentality, which means that it has a certain ways it expects you to do things. And if you do it in the way it expects, it is your best friend. If you don't, it gets mad, and you'll get mad too, because it will not work as you expect. So this is the index page. I don't care about ESLint, thank you very much. So in the pages folder, these essentially route to the actual URLs in the page. So index.js is the root path here. I can, of course, change this content to say, my blog is the best blog that you ever seen. I'm going to actually delete all this other boilerplate because I don't need it. And it's just going to get in my way as I start making my own thing. Save that. Goodbye. Let's remove the footer. Goodbye. I'm also going to remove all the styles because we're going to use Tailwind for this in the next video, and I don't want to actually have any conflicts here. So I'm actually using my old little VS Code trick where I do Command D to expand selection, to be able to easily delete all the files at the same time. That's a feature of VS Code. Many editors nowadays have it as well. It's called multi-select or something. Is that what it is? If I click here, do expand selection. Yeah, shortcut there. So now I can save this and everything looks horrible because there's no styles. I'm a big believer in making things clean. So let me actually delete that. And now I can actually delete this as well, the home module file. Let's delete that. Goodbye, farewell. And now we have everything is looking good. So let's just actually commit this to have a little stopgap. Clean up default content. Cool. So what I want to do is make the index page an about page. I want to mock data for some blog posts because I've found over my time that big question I've always had is, do you start with the UI first, the styles first, the data first? Like, which one comes first? Like, is there a best route? And what I've decided after all my years is that data comes first. By that I mean knowing the content that you want to show on your web page is very important because things naturally follow from there. If you ever work in a big company and you have a design team, a big part of their initial process is actually to go out and do research and talk to people to kind of get an idea of what they're going to build or design before they design it. So they actually take a whole step back. They actually take the time to research the content or the form that they actually must make into a functional design. And that holds true in your own side projects. The data, the content is the strong anchor that powers everything from there. So we're going to make some fixture data to get the shape right that we can then use as we focus on UI and CSS. So we have this index page. Let's make the about page. So I'm going to go here and do about.js. And the best way for scaffolding a new page is to copy the contents from the previous page. I'm not kidding. I do this all the time. It is a great little hack that makes your life so much easier. Why copy? Why do from scratch where you can just copy? So I can save that, and now if I go here and go to About, there's my About page. But this is annoying to type in the URL, so let's make a navigation. So what's cool with Next.js is that they have two special files that you can opt into using. One is app.js and one is _document.js. And it took me a while to actually get used to what each one does. Here we go. So a custom app. So an app, the custom app file is similar to what would be the root of your client-side React application. Because the weird thing about Next.js is that it's both a server-side React framework and a client-side React framework, and it's confusing to know where things begin. App is essentially it's not purely the client side, but it's primarily the client side version of your application. There's also underscore document. Where's document? Where's my doc? Oh, here it is, custom document. This is purely server side only. And I don't need to modify this for our use cases. You don't care. But like if you had a server, Python server, Java server, Node server, using Express, you would have a root HTML file that would serve the basic layout of the page. So let me expand on that. So if you go here and you view source, nope, let me do show page source. Why am I using Safari? I'm using Safari for a reason. Let me actually switch to Chrome. Hold on one second. Okay, so I'm in Chrome, my beloved dev environment. I'm using Safari for browsing nowadays. Different video subject. But if I go to the actual content of the page and I view source, you can see what's shown here. And that's essentially what the custom document lets you customize. It's the actual HTML that loads when the page is first ran on the page. Did you need to know all that? No. Did I enjoy explaining it? Yes. Did I forget what I was really talking about? Yes. Oh yeah, so let's make a nav. And the best place to put the nav, frankly, is, let's go back to my custom app. It's in the app page. And it says in the documentation here that the app page is great for persisting layout between page changes, which is what I want to do right now. So actually take this right here. Let's wrap it in a div. This is the component of the entire page. Let's just do this for now. We're going to do nav, and we're going to have a unordered list, and I'll have a list item of home and a list item of about. That little shortcut I did right there, I like to do a lot actually. If I do Command C to copy the line, I can do Command V to paste it, which makes it easy to kind of copy things. And I'm not gonna lie, Next.js has its own special way of doing links, and I always forget how to do it. So rather than me trying to pretend that I know what I'm doing, I'm just gonna copy and paste it, because a big part of being a senior engineer is knowing where to copy and paste from. Trademark, Harry Wolf, copyright 2019. It's 2021, isn't it? Shoot. Okay. So let's import this here. And the way that the link works, I think, is a little bit strange, but beggars can't be choosers here. Let me just do expand selection to save some keystrokes. I can do, let's do link ref equals this. We'll put that in later because that's different. Let's cut that and wrap that. And then also I need to wrap these things in an A tag. Oops, what happened here? There we go. And we'll go /A. Save that. So if all things was well, there's my links. Let's actually make this go to /about. And now I can easily go back and forth with these nice single page navigations. Nice and simple. So we have my about page, we have the home page. We're kind of knocking around the old Next.js. And then the next thing I want to do actually is make some fixture data to kind of get the basic idea of what my data is going to look like. So let me actually make a file. I'm going to call it lib. I'll call it data for lack of anything else. And we're going to call this export cons. Let's just call it blog posts. And this shall be an array of blog posts. And I'm going to make a very simple format for these blog posts for now. We'll have a title. We're going to have a date. And then we're going to have content, which I'm going to do good old lorem. No lorem. What's a good lorem generator? Give me something simple. There we go. Great. Paragraphs. I want more paragraphs. Yeah, that's fine. There we go. Look at that. Actually, I just want one. Let's just do one. Content here. Delete those lines. There we go. Cool. And then we can do title is my first post. And then I'm just going to copy all this content and make 3, because I like to just do things in 3. We'll call this one second again, and then thirds is the best. I'll save that. So we have all this content, and now what we can do very easily is make our brute blog page. So actually, let me save the work we did with the navigation. So I'm actually going to use VS Code here to stage my about pages. In the about page, I'm going to just say add nav and about page. And commit that. Now I only have the data left to commit. So now if I go into the index page, I can import here. We'll do content. We're going to do blog posts. I love the auto import nature of VS Code. And we're going to map over it because we want to convert these to actual content. And we're going to call this item. And then what should our blog content be? What should be the basic outline? We're going to have it be title. So the title should be a header. I don't know. Should it just be a div? Just be a div for now. We're going to do item.title. We're going to do item.date. And we're going to do item.content. So now let's save that. And objects are not valid as React children. If you want to render a collection using an array instead. I thought I was doing an array. Item.title for that. Why is this giving me an error? Found. I think it's because this has to be toString is what it is. Doesn't like that. It's just a date. There we go. Cool. Here's our content. So much content, but we have that working there, which is fine. Also, one thing I forgot to put in here is the slug. So I'm going to call this my first, and then this shall be second, and this shall be third. I'm just going to call this first. And then here you saw I actually added a key. That's a thing that React always wants, if you're not familiar, to make sure that each item in the array that you're creating dynamically is unique. So we have the root page being rendered, but what I really want to do is make the actual blog post paths. So let's go back to the about page where let's go back to app where I have my link. Let's actually make links over here. I like to group like imports together. It's not important. It just makes my OCD a little bit calmer. We're gonna wrap this in a link tag like that. Also in an A, and then the link is what has the URL. So this ref is going to be the URL is going to be /blog/item slug. We'll save that. So now if we hover over there, you can see at the bottom there, blog/first, which of course we go there, is a 404, which is to be expected because we haven't yet made that page. We have the links working correctly. So now I was mentioning convention over configuration, which means that I can actually go into here and lean into that convention and make blog/slug.js as the template for each blog page. So let's go in here, copy and paste the about page to get a little template going. This is going to be title. What was the content I put in data? Title, date, content. Title, date, content. We'll make this be title, and this shall be title as well, and save that. Now I don't think this is going to work. It kind of works, but it kind of doesn't. So Next.js has some special APIs because of its server-side renderness. So getStaticProps. So essentially when this page is loaded, this blog post page, I can expose this function that lets me return what data should render this dynamic file. Because this bracket slug says that this is a dynamic file that can be any number of values. It's powered by data, as we're talking about again. So there's also getStaticPaths we're going to need as well to power things. Do I need static paths? I think I do. getStaticProps. Here we go. So this getStaticProps, you can go here, and let's just do some little introspection to understand what's going on here. So we do context. Let's actually log that in here. Let's save that. Let's see what happens when we actually reload the page. getStaticPaths is required for a dynamic server-side generated page and is missing for this. So actually we need getStaticPaths, which is good. getStaticPaths right here. As I was mentioning, this page is a dynamic route. I need to define the list of paths that could be rendered here. So let's actually go here, copy and paste that over here. And what we're going to say here is we actually have to get the paths that we want to do here. I don't need fallback. We want to get the list of blog post slug names. So let's actually do this via blog post.map item. And we want to do item.slug. We're going to say all slugs, but in case here, what I actually want to do is paths expects it to be an array with the parameters. So hold on a second. I know I'm getting a little bit in my own head, but I'm just making sure I get you the right information. So getStaticPaths assumes a certain return structure. As you can see, the paths key is required. And in the paths key, each object represents an individual dynamic page. So in our case, we want to have 3 dynamic pages because we have 3 blog posts currently. But again, it's dynamic, so that means you can customize things. And the shape of that object is a key, which is also expected. And this key params is the parameters that are being given when getStaticProps is called. And most importantly is I need note that the value for each params must match the parameters used in the page name. So in our case, the page name is slug, so we must have a parameter of slug. So let's actually take this and return an object. So this is going to be an array where we have params of slug equals slug. So it's going to be an array of, so let's save that and then refresh this. And we need a fallback. Great, I don't care. False. Additional keys are returned from getStaticPaths. No, they weren't. Param. Did I do a typo? Params. As I said, Next.js is convention over configuration, and it gets mad when you don't follow that convention. So here we have things that are cool. And now we can actually see that my log up here is actually getting logged when the page loads. And the params is slug first. So you're kind of getting the pieces together here. So if I actually, let me actually just do this, const foo. I like to do this a lot when I'm kind of just trying to understand how things work. It's just kind of log out the stuff. Let's return foo, clear the console, and save this. So here you can see that the paths, see now this is also a thing that's annoying when when a JS object is too deeply nested, the default console log kind of just dies and says, I don't want to deal with that. So a trick you can do is to JSON stringify it out. These next 2 magic values lets it actually be rendered like this. So you can, it's kind of pretty printing the JSON, is how I think about it. I just have these memorized, unfortunately. So foo, which is being returned here, looks like a path, which is an array. And each object in the array has that params key with the slug that's being returned there. So exactly what Next.js desires. So now that this is working, and it's just being returned, when context is being called, I have context params. Actually, let me just, I don't really care about the other values. Let's actually just do params equals context. And blog posts, because I can just, let's just actually do this, do blog post find where item, we'll do item slug equals params dot slug. I'll save that. God, the date always is just what kills things. Let's actually do this to make my life easy because I don't really care about it anymore. There we go. My first post. So I'm now returning the props. I found the actual blog post here. I'm going through the array of blog posts. I'm finding it where the slug equals the parameter slug and rendering it here. So actually I can go here and do content. There's my content. Let's make this a little easier to be. 11111. Whee! And let's do this, make this be 2. Right over here. We'll do 2. Save that. And this last one shall be 3, like that. Oops. Too much deletes. There we go. So now I can go back to the home page, and now I can click on all the contents here. I can do my first blog post, second again, and third is the best. So I have now essentially the basic building blocks of the blog, where I can have data. The blog content's just data right now, but the raw structure is there, which is cool. So let's save that, get the raw functionality together, commit that, and there we go. Okay, so that was part 1 of 3. Part 1's purpose was to kind of get the basic structure of the blog together, using content in data to kind of just speed us up and getting us off the ground. Part 2, which you have to stay tuned for, we'll be actually using Tailwind to style things more. And I think that's going to be the more exciting one, kind of building off on some of my more recent Tailwind videos. So stay tuned for that one. That video I will be adding Tailwind and using it to actually style things in a nice, fun way. But this kind of gives you started with the project. Hopefully you played along. The code will be up on GitHub. And I'm excited for part 2. That's the video. I will catch you again in the next one. Until then, stay happy, stay coding, and I'll see you around.